and we're live, but I couldn't get to the button fast enough. So here's our intro, guys. If you're watching us, hi.
Hi, how's it going?
We'll be back in a second. Welcome to the FSF Podcast live show. Technology is hard.
Yeah, see, it's getting to the point where even the middle Gen Xers like Tim are having trouble with technology. So
no, I got too busy talking and didn't have everything set up like I normally would. Normally, if I click the live button and I just go over to the brand button and there's my video right there, I have it set.
Yeah.
Today, I did not do that because we were chit-chatting before we got started here. So
reminiscing.
It is reminiscing of stupidity of years gone past and probably just last week. But anyway,
no, not just last week.
No.
I was responsible last week.
Oh, that crushed the dream.
Yeah, I'm scared too.
Well, guys, welcome to the FSF Podcast. This is our Live at 5. Today, we're going to be talking about D23. Now, that's the celebration of all things, well, Disney-owned. Is the major fan event that they have every year where they announce new movies and what they've got coming, what's going on for all of their brands. So we're talking about, of course, Disney, Pixar, National Geographic, Marvel, Lucasfilm, Star Wars. All of that is under the Disney umbrella, and all can be addressed at D23. So, so we're really excited to talk about this today because there's some cool things that are coming up. There's some things that I question why it's being made.
Kind of the same for me, you know.
Yeah, but you know, hey, what? Yeah, but I'm sure that Disney has their reasons. It's called money. But hey, that's their jam. That's what they get to do. They own. They're a business. They're there to make money. It is what it is. But before we get any farther into our review, we just want to say thank you to our show partners. These are the people who make this show possible. So we want to say thank you to Storyline Editors. They're the ones who help us with our TikToks, our Reels, our Shorts, all that kind of fun stuff. Of course, TCT, where fandom meets fashion. Use the code FSF15 at the link down in the show notes down below. And you can get 15% off your total order. Get some really cool nerd merch. And then also, of course, Level Up Sabers. That is the levels, the sabers by Master Allen. My brain just wanted to keep saving Level Up. But yeah, go. The link is down below. Get yourself a really cool lightsaber. The only saber guaranteed to be better than a stick. And not only that, you support Master Allen, and he's a really cool guy. And if you buy one of those sabers, you support him and you support us. So yeah, buy a saber.
Get it.
Pretty please, sugar on top, all those other things. But yeah, so like I said, today we're talking about the Ultimate Disney Fan Event, which just happened. Today is, today is the 14th of August. And so this happened just 3 days ago. It closed up, and it was August 9th, 10th, and 11th in Anaheim, California. And like I said, these cover the releases made by Disney, Pixar, Star Wars, Marvel, National Geographic. So we'll talk about any of those things. There really wasn't much for National Geographic, so we're really not going to talk about them much at all. And there's really only one Star Wars reference in this whole, two Star Wars references in our whole discussion. So
it's a nice change of pace for us because the last couple of weeks has been Star Wars.
Has been pretty Star Wars heavy.
Yeah.
Tomorrow? Pay attention tomorrow. More Star Wars. Anyway, but yeah, let's get right into this. Let's talk about D23 and what's going on here. So here's the first thing that's released: Avatar: Fire and Ash.
Yeah. I'm going to be honest. I never really got into Avatar. It didn't really strike me as much. I mean, I know people like it.
Yeah.
I appreciate that other people like it. I hope they enjoy it. I'm trying to figure out how many of these Ferngully space movies James Cameron can make.
Thank you. I was gonna make the Ferngully reference because it's exactly what it is to me.
But I mean, at the same time, you know, the lessons from Ferngully and Dances with Wolves are lessons we still need today. So repeating those stories in a new way,
right? Yeah.
Respect them, you know. I didn't see the first one in theaters. I actually watched it on TV at home. I watched the first 45 minutes, and then anyone who knows me will know how bad this is. I turned it off and went outside.
He went outside, y'all. That's the ultimate
But at the same time, I didn't actually finish it, so I can't say if it's good or bad. Maybe this is something I should give a chance.
Well, I've watched each of the first 2 movies.
Okay.
It's the type of thing where it's not in my opinion, it wasn't a great movie, but it's not a bad movie.
Okay.
Okay.
All right.
And it has enough in it that I was like, well, there's an interesting story here. And the whole time I was watching it, I was honestly thinking Fern Gully in space. And so it's not bad. It's actually a decent watch if you've got nothing else going on and you want to kind of catch up. And the second half of the movie for the first movie is really good. They spend a lot more time than they should have trying to set up who was the good guy yet the bad guy and all that other type of stuff. A lot of unnecessary story building to get to the arc of the story that we needed to have.
Okay.
And then the second one was, I believe it's called The Way of the Water.
Yeah.
That was Fern Gully at SeaWorld, but yet still in space. And I don't know, it wasn't all that exciting to me. Again, not a bad movie, not a great movie. It's definitely in the good. It's as the hardy healer Ben likes to say when we play Destiny and I ask him about a certain gun that's, he's like, well, it's definitely in the game.
Okay.
If it's a gun that he doesn't like, this movie's definitely in the movie catalog.
All right.
It's in there. It doesn't mean it's good or it's bad. It's just definitely in there. And there are some people, who really dig it. Kathleen says, "Oh yay, the cute producer's on the show again."
Hi.
She had to clarify because last time she said hi cutie and I responded too fast. So so that's that's kind of where I stand on the Avatar. Now the thing is, I've invested myself for the first 2 movies. I will probably end up watching this one.
Okay, cool.
In all honesty, I don't see why I wouldn't.
Before it comes out, I might try these again. There's got to be something there. Maybe I just wasn't in the right headspace to appreciate it.
Yeah, they're like I said, it's one of those. To me, it's a good filler movie. So
okay,
I would definitely probably be more caught up on everything else that I was watching before I sat down to watch this one when it comes on HBO Max or whatever channel it's going to be on.
Well, I mean,
because I won't. I'll wait for it to come to streaming before I watch it because that's just I don't know that I care enough to go pay money for it.
And I think that's a topic we'll need to talk about another time about people making that decision instead of going to the theaters.
Right.
Because if I can watch it for the $7 I'm paying Disney every month anyway. $10.
Exactly. Kathleen says the colors are beautiful. That's about all I like about the movie. Cinematography and the way that it's done and the use of CGI is done really well. The colors are fantastic, especially when you get to The Way of the Water and the way that movie's set up. Yeah, I will say that is one of the higher points in that movie. It should have won every award for all that stuff.
Okay.
So,
all
right. Next.
Yeah. So Frozen 3 and possibly Frozen 4 with a musical adaptation thrown in. Tim, I know that's not anywhere near your wheelhouse.
You lost me at Frozen, so doesn't matter.
Okay. I'm going to have to talk to your daughter.
My daughter was older when Frozen came out. So
the music is still good, though. The music is good.
Oh, yeah. A lot of people love it. My daughter was into different things when Frozen was happening. So,
yeah, the first 2 movies were on Disney Plus at the beginning of 2020. And we watched them so many times that even I was sick of the thought of winter. And I love winter. That's why I live where I live. I like snow. I like ice. But, this is a really solid franchise. Appeals to a lot of people.
Sure.
I'm curious where they're going. It almost looks like a summer theme going forward.
So it's unfrozen.
Yeah. Thawed, if you will.
Thawed.
Yeah. Yeah, but I mean, anytime you get Josh Gad to do Olaf again and, try to
break. You want to build a sandcastle?
Yeah. I mean, who knows what we're going to get?
Oh, okay.
A lot of his ad libs actually end up in the movies, which is great.
Josh Gad is just wonderful anyway. So
he's a marvelous human being.
I think so.
Yeah.
I think so. I've seen him in enough things where yeah, I think he'd be
Yeah.
a fun guy just to go sit down and have a beer with. So
Yeah. But as I had a miniature Elsa running through my living room last week, threatening to freeze me. Yeah,
yeah,
I'm probably gonna see it.
I'm sure you have no choice. This is
No, none.
definitely but for me, I don't think that this is one that I will see.
Okay.
Just because I saw Frozen. I've never seen Frozen 2. Couldn't tell you what the story is about even a little bit. And so there's really no need for me to see Frozen 3. I don't think that my daughter, who's 17 going on 18, is going to be like, yeah, now I need to see Frozen 3. So,
well, my over 30 wife thinks it's also necessary to watch. So,
oh yeah, oh I knew that when I said you had no choice.
Yeah, it's not the little one. The little one I can negotiate with.
Yeah,
I love
even
you,
at that, you
Kathleen.
had no choice. You still had no choice, but it was nice how you pretended like you did. Yeah,
I'm
no,
going to enjoy it.
I think it'll do very well.
Mhm.
Frozen has a very big following, and I'm not part of that following. It doesn't mean I have a reason to crap on it. It just means that I'm not part of that following, and I hope that the people who love it love it.
And maybe when the musical comes to Grand Rapids, I can buy you enough beers that you're willing to go with me.
You might want to switch to tequila. Just saying.
Si, senor.
You might get me dancing too. Just saying. All right. But yeah, so that's Frozen 3, 4.
Yep.
The musical.
Yeah.
Revenge of the Musical. So
yeah. Musicals are
all
fun.
of that stuff. No, they're not. Anyway, next slide, Clyde.
Okay. Did you see the first Moana?
I did not.
Okay. This is another one appeals to a lot of girls, which is something I'm noticing with Disney is a lot of their products are appealing to girls, young women. It's kind of it's an unfortunately untapped market base in a lot of things.
Yeah.
But the number of like female leads that don't necessarily need a romantic interest, like Moana,
Right.
it's pretty cool. I like it. And if
I think it's
Lin-Manuel
great.
Miranda, if Lin-Manuel's writing music again, I'm gonna be there. It just happens.
Yeah, I have nothing to add other than I know that it was really popular, and I know that a lot of girls loved it, and I know a lot of women love it. And I know that the big dude next to her is played by The Rock. That's all I can tell you.
Yeah, that's Maui. One of my things that I enjoyed about it is he threatens to eat every animal in sight. I do that. We go to the county fair. I wear the shirt that says, I enjoy romantic walks through the meat department.
Mm-hmm.
The farmers laugh. The little kids think I'm horrible. Life is good.
It's a solid go.
Yeah, but this is another one of their big ones they're pitching. And I think it'll do okay.
Yeah. Oh, I think it'll do great. Honestly, it's got a big appeal, and there's a lot of people out there that love it. So I'm not surprised that they did a sequel. What I am surprised by the announcement of the sequel is that it's not. I mean, usually when they do one of these sequels, it used to be in Disney, at least when I was growing up. If like, goodness gracious, the Aladdin movie, was really big in the theater. They came out with Aladdin 2. It went straight to DVD or VHS. And like same thing. They did the same thing with Lion King and everything else. A lot of those movies during that time period. So for me, I'm always just kind of more interested in the fact that they're doing these sequels. They're theater releases, and they're got big money production behind them. They're not skimping on these things.
Right, which is funny because it seems like now almost everything they're doing is sequels, when before the sequels were kind of the nobody cared because they weren't of the same standard.
Right. Yeah. It was a lesser grade of attention paid to the sequels, and with different voice actors, everything else. It was a bunch of sound alikes. And so, yeah. I do like this tonal shift for Disney, that the sequels are getting the same actors and actresses, and they're getting the same care. We're getting a well-crafted story, and I think that all really changed with the one that we're going to show next. I think this is honestly one of the things that pushed things into the sequel territory, where it was okay to have a sequel for these type of movies, and that is the Toy Story franchise.
Yes. The first one, looking back on the animation, The first one is it's a little janky by modern standards, but the story is solid.
Oh, so good. I can sit down and watch Toy Story any day of the week, anytime, and yeah.
And those first 3 movies, phenomenal. I actually haven't seen the 4th one.
I liked it.
Did you?
I liked it quite a bit. Yeah, I've seen all the Toy Story. Yeah. I anything Toy Story for me has been an immediate yes. Let's go.
Yeah,
let's go watch this. Let's go do this. It's Toy Story. Let's go. Now I have a big emotional attachment to Toy Story because for my oldest son, he was about the age of your daughter when Toy Story came out.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, that'll do it.
And so we watched Toy Story, and then when Toy Story 2 came out, we had him on VHS back in the day, and he would take out the one VHS, pop in the other, and put the first one in the rewinder. And then when that one was done, we'd go Toy Story 1 to Toy Story 2, back to Toy Story 1 to Toy Story 2, back to Toy Story 1. And that was all day, every day for weeks on end, it seemed like. But I was okay with it because it was a really good movie.
Yeah.
And now it's just a really good memory. So every time we've gone to see Toy Story since then, I think of that, and I think of my son. And now I'm excited because when this comes out, I want to take my grandson to it. Mm-hmm. So it's gonna be fun for me.
And thank you for dating yourself by mentioning the rewinder.
No problem. I'm here for it.
You might have to explain that to some of the younger kids, but those are also
in my day, the tapes had to be rewound.
And the internet came in the mail. Yeah, those are the same kids though that are playing with their iPads and their tablets instead of their dad's action figures now, which is fine because if you're like Tim, the toys don't come out of the box.
That's right. But that's also ties into what we're seeing in the picture here. It looks like the storyline is going to be basically the toys are having to deal with the rise of technology.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm kind of excited to see how that goes, where this goes with it. And I think what they've done really well in all of these movies is that they've made these relatable to both adults and children simultaneously.
Yes.
Because the depth of the story writing has been so good. So I'm curious to see where they're going to go with this story, but I have no doubt that it's going to be good.
Yeah.
And I will be there opening night.
Really?
So, oh yeah, this is an opening night movie for me. It has to be.
Okay.
I will not wait for this. But I won't wait. I won't wait for this to come out on Disney.
Okay.
Yeah. The second I could probably buy the digital copy of it, I will buy the digital copy so I can have it. Yeah. It's going to be a thing.
3 weeks later, it'll be on Disney Plus anyway.
I know it will be, but I'd rather, just in case I, for whatever reason in the future, decide not to have streaming services, I would still like to have the movie. So,
well, then maybe you should look into a physical copy because they can't take your license to use the software away that way.
Well, typically I do. I buy the physical copy that has the digital copy in it.
Okay, all right.
So,
I've been burned losing a few shows on streaming lately. Yeah,
it's happened.
I'm annoyed.
Understandable. The one that's coming up next, I was honestly very, very surprised that this is even a thing.
Yeah. Oh yeah, me too.
Lilo and Stitch, the kind of live action.
Yeah, okay. Disney's doing a lot of live action remakes, or live action if you're talking about the Lion King movies,
right? Which live-ish.
I don't have favorable opinion there, so I'm going to keep that to myself. But I'm curious to see how they do it. I mean, because everybody loves Stitch. My daughter has a Stitch blanket.
Stitch is great.
Yeah.
So Lilo and Stitch was a fantastic movie.
As long as it's not like a line for line, shot for shot remake, and they do something new and different with it, I'm on board.
I wouldn't expect that. I would expect something kind of similar to what they did in Lion King, where it's almost scene for scene, sound for sound. I'm expecting that.
Right. I mean, I'm working on being optimistic.
I don't think you're being. I don't think I'm being pessimistic. I think I'm being a realist about it. I mean, I'm not smashing it. I'm not trashing it. It is what it is. It's going to be a movie out in the world.
Yes. It's definitely in the game.
It's definitely in the game. I this is one of those things where I wonder why they're making it. It doesn't mean that it's going to be a bad movie. It might actually end up being really very good, and I hope that that's the case. I really do.
Yeah.
I just think that this is one of those things where like somebody needed a project, and they're like, "Hey, let's do something with Lilo and Stitch." Was it? I don't know if it had something to do with their copyright. Because I know with some things, you got to do something with it every few years to keep the copyright going. Is this one of those things? I don't know, but
we will find out. I'm willing to give it a shot, though. I might wait for streaming unless somebody in the house makes me go see it before then.
Oh, you're going to go see it before then?
We'll see.
Pretty sure about that one, John. I'd put some solid money down on that one.
All right.
Solid money says
I will respect your opinion.
Solid money says this happens before streaming.
Okay.
So
we'll see what happens. I'll let you know. I mean, you'll find out anyway.
Oh, we'll talk about it. Don't you worry.
Oh,
yeah. The next one.
Yeah.
Here's another one where I'm just like, why? Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs.
Well, this is one of the copyright things.
That was kind of where I thought this might be going.
But also, I mean, does anybody actually watch the original anymore?
No.
So, I mean,
I would doubt it. Because
that came out when, wasn't that like the first feature-length animated movie?
Pretty close. Either that or Bambi.
It's early last century, like before.
It's early animation, that's for sure.
Yeah. So I can see remaking it for generations of people who maybe don't want to watch the old animation style. I can kind of get that.
I thought if they were going to remake it, that it would be an animation or CGI style movie completely. I mean, clearly they're going to have some CGI. You can see it in the and I don't think they're going to call them, for PC reasons, I don't think they're calling them dwarves in the movie, the Seven Dwarves. I don't know what they're calling them, but I think they're just calling it Snow White.
I'm not sure. I know that the use of CG characters instead of actually casting live action actors who meet the description has met a fair amount of blowback.
Well, I know that Martin Kleba is in the movie for sure. Yeah. He is one of the
okay.
Yeah, one of the little people we see on screen.
Okay.
But I don't know that how much he's, we have to wait and see how much is gonna be with it. I saw him in the cast list because I looked this up. I was doing a little bit of research on it, and they're just calling it Snow White. So far, announced as the cast are Snow White, the Evil Queen, somebody named Jonathan, Martin Kleba as Grumpy.
Okay. I happen to like Grumpy. He's my favorite. I can relate to him.
And that's pretty much it that's been listed as far as, the rest are people they don't have names. Okay. I mean, they themselves have names. They don't have names for the characters. Just calling them dancers, artisans, apple farmer.
All right.
So there's not a whole bunch that's announced there. I mean, but they got some pretty big names in this movie. I mean, Gal Gadot's in it as the Evil Queen, Martin Kleba as Grumpy. There's a couple other people in here that I think I recognize from something, but I'd have to go look them up to be sure.
Okay. But yeah, I mean, it's a copyright remake, I think. But also, when was the last time anybody watched Snow White? It's kind of a fun story. We'll see how it plays out. See if kids latch onto it this century.
Yeah, see if that story translates.
Yeah.
Thanks for bringing it up as a century issue.
Maybe they've come up with something new to do with the story, a little new modern twist. That'd be cool.
Wouldn't be surprised if they did a little, jump started a little bit,
Right.
But yeah, I don't know. I was surprised by this one. I more so that it was not that it was being made, but more so that it was a mixture of live action CGI and not just a straight up animated movie.
Yeah.
I thought with the style of animation they have now to bring that to bring Snow White into that form of animation, like a Frozen animation or Tangled or something along those lines. I thought this would do really well in that format, but maybe this will do really well here.
Yeah, maybe we'll see.
I think the biggest issue is that a lot of people already have complained, and a lot of people will be complaining in March of 2025 when this movie releases, because they're going to figure out that Snow White is not Caucasian. The actress who plays her is half Polish, half Colombian, and there's already been a lot of complaints that that's not my Snow White. So,
I mean, I can kind of see that since her name denotes having incredibly white skin,
right?
But it's a story.
Considering that Snow White was a story of Germanic descent, and Germanic people can have darker toned features and darker hair. Who knew?
Yeah.
But yeah. So anyway, I expect a little bit of blowback on this movie, unfortunately, but I think it'll be good.
Yeah.
So
gonna give it a shot.
I don't see myself watching it unless somebody in my household wants to watch it, but I don't see us going to the theater for it. Probably waiting for it to come out on streaming personally.
It's a Disney musical. We're gonna have to watch it at some point over here.
Yeah, so there's that.
This is the way.
This is not the way. Totally not the way. But what is the way? And I am so very, very, very excited for it. This comes out in December. This is Skeleton Crew, or is what I have taken to calling Goonies in Space.
Yes.
And I am so on board for this. The trailer looks phenomenal. The screenshots, everything I've seen about this so far look phenomenal. And I am like giggly happy about this. This looks like it's going to be a fun ride.
Oh yeah. Yeah, I have no doubt about it. Kids getting to play, and when we were kids, we all wanted to be in Star Wars. We wanted to be Han Solo.
Oh, for sure, yeah.
Girls wanted to be Leia, whatever. But these kids actually get to do that, and that is freaking amazing. I'm so happy for them.
Yeah, this is I think this is going to be a lot of fun. The casting of Jude Law, I think, is going to get people's eyes on it. Carrie Condon's also in. She's got some good stuff out there. Not a lot of names that you're going to recognize as far as the rest of the people who are in the show.
Right.
But I think that there's enough star power with having Jude Law there, having Carrie Condon in it, where she's been in a few different. She was in the voice of Friday and Captain America's Civil War, and a few other things.
So, the buzz and the excitement on this is so positive. Even that theory guy only had good things to say about the preview.
Yes, he who shall not be named. Gotcha.
Yes. I occasionally refer to the dark side over there, and I don't have a burner account on one social platform just to harass him. That would be ridiculous.
Who would do that? Yes, harass him with aggressive positivity. I love it.
Exactly.
But yeah, so I'm very, very stoked about this, and I hate the month of December just because of what's coming. But I know you love that season of the year. Because what it spews onto the ground is a 4-letter word.
Well, yeah, it's also my anniversary.
Yeah, mine's in January, but that's still, But yeah. December can't get here soon enough, so I can get new Star Wars.
Yeah.
It'll be great. I'm so very, very excited about this. And I think that and you know what I just noticed looking at this picture? The girl in the top right corner.
Yeah.
They stole Jordy's visor.
Close.
That's fantastic.
Yeah.
Oh, poor Jordy. Now we know where his visor went.
Yep.
So it made its way over to Star Wars.
Yep.
It jumped the track from Trek.
Great. Disney's going to buy Paramount now.
Can you imagine? Oh my goodness.
Okay, but then we could actually have the Star Trek X-Men crossover, because there's a novel.
The consternation out there that would happen. Oh my goodness.
That'd be great. I would love it.
Right? Right?
Yeah.
Um, we're owned by the same dark web. You can't complain about us anymore. Anyway,
There'll be complaints no matter what. We all know.
there's always going to be complaints. We know that.
It's part of the
That's exactly. It's just part of the jam. It's what happens. All right, so that's Skeleton Crew, and that's an absolute watch. That's not coming to the movie theaters. That, of course, is coming to Disney Plus in December. That's I think they've got eight episodes planned.
We need longer seasons. I'm getting tired of this 8-episode nonsense.
I agree.
I want my 24 episode, seasons back.
I at least want 15 to 20 episodes. That's what I'm kind of hoping that we can get back to.
Give me some filler episodes. So I care about the characters. Don't just ram the plot through.
Yeah, I would actually be okay with a couple of filler episodes with a story that's loosely tied to the main plot line of the season and all these other things. If it means we get more episodes, we get more time with the characters, learning about them, et cetera, et cetera. Yep. But yeah. So yeah, that's that one. Next is for Marvel Television. Here's a Marvel announcement. Ironheart. Yeah,
apparently, like, this one's been wrapped for a while. They're just getting around to releasing it, which
there was a lot of talk about this going away for a little while.
Yeah,
it had to do with the blowback from the Captain Marvel movie, the Miss Marvels. She was in that.
Which those are fun.
They're great movies. The Marvels movie, I think, is fantastic. I thought it was a lot of fun.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'm excited that they're bringing this show out, rather, not movie but show, and I think it'll be a nice adaptation into the Marvel, series, into the MCU. I'm curious to see how this translates with the multiverse and the Tony Stark and all that type of stuff. Will she pick up the Iron Man mantle, as Ironheart, because that's what she did in the comic books. She was basically Iron Man, but Ironheart. And so I'm hoping that that's what is going to happen here, and that they're going to allow that to be a thing,
right?
Not just a 6 to 8 episode offshoot,
right,
and then call it a day, which is, I'm afraid, is what's going to happen.
And what I think is cool about characters like her, first of all, they don't look a thing like me, so I get to see the world from a different perspective.
Absolutely, it's one of the things I loved about Ms. Marvel, seeing it from from her perspective.
Right, but also she's an NYU student, so she's in New York City with all these other heroes.
Right.
So there's chance for some crossover, for some actually liking this show and then giving a crap because those supporting characters show up over here too.
Absolutely.
That's something that's been lacking in Marvel lately, I think.
Agreed.
Especially right after Endgame, that there was a lot of, hey, this guy's over here, that guy's over there, but they don't connect directly.
Right, their paths don't cross, and they just kind of do their own thing.
Right. And I think that's been a problem with Marvel for the last 5 years.
Easily, for sure. And yes, just getting back to the fact that she's not a white female, I think is really good. I want young girls who are of color to have their opportunities, to have their heroes too, and I want them to have somebody to look up to. And I love the fact that we're getting some of that, not just with like Kamala Khan, but we have Ironheart's character, who I cannot remember her name for the life of me, and I apologize, but yeah, I'd have to look it up. But this is a really cool character, and I think it's an opportunity for young girls, especially, who didn't grow up with, the blonde hair and blue eyes and all the things that go along with that, to have somebody to look up to and go, all right, cool, I have a superhero that looks like me. The videos, I don't know if you remember back when they released the Little Mermaid movies.
Yeah.
The videos of the little girls sitting there, mama, she looks like me.
Yeah.
Tears.
Yeah.
Tears.
Because
beautiful.
If there were never characters that looked like me, I wouldn't feel connected.
Right. Exactly.
I've had the remarkable privilege of almost every hero looking like me.
Right.
And I think other people need that too.
Oh, absolutely. And I'm so stoked for this. I think it's great.
Yeah.
I want to see more of those videos, a little girl sitting down watching Ironheart fly across the screen and mama, she looks like me.
Uh-huh.
I guarantee more tears. It's going to happen.
Oh yeah.
So it's a beautiful, beautiful thing. All right. Up next, again for Marvel Television.
Uh-huh.
I
Speaking of people that look like me, I can't see 12 inches without my glasses.
Oh.
But
so excited.
Me too. Especially with bringing the original Netflix cast back in and basically reshooting the series with those guys in.
Yeah. It's going to be great.
And obviously we're not going to show leaked footage here because, we're trying to stay on the mouse's good side. But apparently at one point, Daredevil is protecting Kamala Khan's family. And so that is we're all in New York City. It's like when, Captain America and Spider-Man are like, hey, which part of town are you from? It's connecting the characters and
Queens versus Brooklyn. Yeah.
Yeah. And they relate to each other and they care about each other, which means, hey, wait, who was that? I need to go back and watch that.
Yeah, exactly.
Which is what we need in a connected universe, not randomness. But yeah, absolutely love these guys. Looking forward to the development of Matt's character, which we
very much
saw in She-Hulk.
I'm hoping we see more of her.
He spent a lot of time in confession for a reason and wasn't all violence in the books.
Bingo.
Yeah. So
he was a sinner.
I don't know how far Disney's going to take it, but
hey, they did. They allowed Deadpool to happen, so I'm pretty sure they could take it pretty far
with a lot of caveats and addendums.
Yeah.
No Bolivian Martian powder.
But yeah, so I'm excited about this. One of the others that I was kind of hoping is going to get this treatment, and I'd heard kind of rumblings that, but I think it was more rumor than anything.
Okay.
Out of all of the Netflix series, there's actually two that I want to see come back, but for different reasons. Number one, actually, I want to see them all come back because I loved Luke Cage.
Even Iron Fist?
I would love to. Huh?
Even Iron Fist?
That's the one I want to see come back, but have a better actor.
Okay.
That had opportunity to be. I so looked forward to the prospect of having Iron Fist, and was so blatantly let down by that series. But I think if they were to recast it and hire somebody that actually learned how to fight and do the fight scenes and knew what he was doing, it would be a completely different series. And make you want to care about the character of Danny Rand and Iron Fist, and just that series did not do it. It didn't help, and it did not carry on in the Defenders either. I had no interest in him in there. But the one that I would be most sincerely interested in seeing coming back is Jessica Jones.
Oh yeah,
Kristen Ritter was phenomenal as Jessica Jones.
That was a great show.
So good. And yeah, I would love to see that series come back. And again, we're talking about, because they're all in New York, you have opportunity for tie-in, and she can run in with Ironheart, and she can run into Daredevil, and she can run into all these guys, and girls, and have a superhero extravaganza in New York, which would be great for everybody. And I just think, but that's the one that out of all of them, that's the one I was hoping to hear an announcement about, even if it was just an artist rendering drawing like we saw for Toy Story earlier.
Right.
But that did not happen this time. So I'm hoping that will be a future announcement that's going to come back.
Yeah, I didn't grab an image for Thunderbolts, but I'm excited about that one too, because we already know all the characters. We don't have to learn about them on the fly.
Right.
So I actually care, what's happening
Harrison
with
Ford.
Harrison
Ford.
Yeah.
Harrison Ford.
Getting big red and angry.
Big red and angry. This is going to be, I'm looking forward to it for multiple reasons now. So, and then out of everything that happened this past weekend with D23, this is the one thing that I was for sure we were going to hear something about, and then it was just kind of being kept hush hush, as some would say.
Mm-hmm.
But apparently it's being kept so hush hush they didn't even talk about it, and that's The Acolyte.
Right.
Season 2 has not been announced as of yet. I say as of yet because it's a show that desperately needs a second season. Every series that we get out there leaves some type of cliffhanger to make you want to watch more. But there's enough going on, and actually, I had an article release this morning on couchsoup.com about why The Acolyte needs a second season. And I talk about the open-ended questions that we have placed in front of us and the reasons why we need a second season of this show. Now, I know that it's been divisive. It's had its share of issues, but the majority of those issues are from people who were bound and determined to not like it for one reason or another anyway. But based on what I see on the internet and the social circles that I'm swimming in, there's a lot of positivity around this show. And there's a lot of people who feel the same and would love to see a season 2. And to those who would disagree, that's fine. You're more than welcome to disagree. I want you to disagree, frankly, because that gives a chance for discourse and conversation, and I'm all about that. I think that's fantastic. But I also think that those who are on the disagreeing side have to learn to be less venomous with their disagreements.
So, two things here.
Sure.
First of all, Ahsoka's second season wasn't announced until 3 months after the season ended.
Right.
So I think they're probably going to do something like that here.
Correct.
Let us think it's dead, and then like, hey, surprise. The other thing is, those people who don't like the new Disney. I seem to remember there being a very vocal community of how the prequels sucked about 20 years ago.
Oh, it's huge. Yeah.
Yeah. And now they're like foundational Star Wars viewing because we have 20-year thick nostalgia goggles that have this nice rose tint to them.
So absolutely.
And, even when Empire Strikes Back came out, there were people who canceled their fanzines that they were writing because, well, they don't know what they're doing. They have betrayed the characters. And yet, Empire is like pinnacle Star Wars now.
Oh, absolutely. It's considered not just one of the best Star Wars movies, but it's considered the best sequel of all time by many circles.
Like it's that and Godfather too.
Right. Yeah, they're held in the same breath.
Yeah.
So
yeah, I think when he gets a little bit of breathing space and people can separate themselves from their emotions a little bit and look at it as just it's supposed to be fun. They're just
people come around to it. Right? It's just going to take time.
Yeah.
But
yeah.
Let's be honest. Is it a 10 out of 10 show?
No.
There's some holes, there's some gaps, there's some issues here and there.
Even Empire Strikes Back isn't 10 out of 10.
I have a hard time saying that it's not, but it isn't. And that's just because of my own personal emotional attachment to the movie.
Exactly.
Emotionally, that movie is like a 12 out of 10.
Yes.
100 out of 10, if I will. But if I'm being honest, there's some storyline issues as you go through the original trilogy, even that because we'll address this tomorrow morning in our sidebar. George was making this stuff up on the fly. He was, and then when you get to the prequel series, again, there we go again with the changes and everything. So I think this is one of those things. The Acolyte is one of those things where the people who don't like it now, I'm not saying that they're ever going to come around, and I'm not saying they have to.
No.
What I am saying is I think there's going to be a fair number of people who watched it now and did not like it, had issue with it, who in 5, 10, 15 years time are going to come around to it and go, you know what, that was better than I gave it credit for, and here's why. Here's of that. But it's I'm very curious to see what happens in season 2. Vernestra Rao has a lot to answer for, and I'm curious to see what they're going to do with her. So.
And I'm curious how she gets to being that character, because we've seen her in the books as being the exact opposite. So, and
something happened.
The first half of Young Jedi season 2 dropped today, which
perfect.
I have not been able to watch yet because my daughter's been running around doing 15 other things, not looking at a screen, which is great.
That's fantastic.
Yeah.
All right. Well, I think that pretty much covers the majority of the big drops that happened at we didn't hit everything,
No.
but that's the majority. Those are the heavy hitters, the big names. There was a little discussion about the Mando Grogu stuff, but not a ton.
Yeah.
If you want to find out any about that, just look up D23 and you'll find that in the notes there.
Maybe we'll talk to Brendan Wayne about that later when he can actually talk about it.
Exactly.
Because last time you talked to him, he couldn't talk about anything because of the strike.
Exactly. So we're hoping to get Brendan back on the show here pretty soon. And for those of you who aren't familiar, Brendan Wayne is the man in the suit about 75% of the time. And then there's Lateef Crowder, and of course, Papa Pedro is the face when they need to take off the helmet. Yep. So, but yeah. So anyway, maybe we'll have a chance to talk to Brendan about some of this stuff, because yeah, it was during the strike, so we could talk nothing fun with Brendan.
And yet it was still a fabulous conversation. I highly recommend everybody go back and watch it.
Absolutely,
hint,
it was.
Wink, nudge, nudge, if you get my meaning.
It's a subtle hint, hint, nudge, nudge, wink, wink, nod, nod. Anyway, on that note, I have nothing else to add to this glorious conversation other than tune in tomorrow for the sidebar.
Oh, Lordy, this one's not me. It's all him. Him.
You pansy. All right.
I've taken it for the last couple weeks.
All right, boys and girls. Goodbye.
Copyright 2024 FSF Podcast. Reference any specific product or entity mentioned on this podcast does not constitute. Are you okay?
So that was the end. I bumped a button. Anyway, all right. Well, we're done. There's a disclaimer. If you have questions, send questions to info@fsfpopcast.com.
You
okay,
old guys in your technology.
Yay!